for another war. The war of centralization versus decentralization continues. Stateside, the Biden administration wants to make it easier to seize crypto without criminal charges. Let me repeat that. Biden administration wants to make it easier to seize crypto without criminal charges. Buried deep in a 61-page recent report by the U.S. Attorney General, the Biden administration called for a dramatic expansion in the federal government's ability to seize and keep cryptocurrency. If enacted, the proposed changes would bolster both criminal forfeiture, which requires a conviction to permanently confiscate property, as well as civil forfeiture, which doesn't require a conviction or even criminal charges to be filed. Notably, the report's release was coupled with the announcement of a new digital asset coordinator network. This nationwide network is staffed with more than 150 federal prosecutors who will be trained on drafting civil and criminal forfeiture actions. It's a war, guys. Like, it's a war. It's a war. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or ways around this. It's literally CBDC versus Bitcoin. You're either on the orange team or you're on the federal government side. This is what it's going to come down to. Due to crypto's pseudonymous nature, it's sometimes assumed to be immune from government confiscation. Thanks for the Twitch Prime sub, Matovich. Free for you, $2.50 for me. Keeping the dream alive. But the reality is quite different. Last year, the U.S. Marshals, the custodians for the Justice Department seizures, managed almost 200 cryptocurrency seizures worth $466 million. Since fiscal 2014, the FBI, Secret Service, and Homeland Security investigations have collectively seized almost $680 million worth of crypto valued at the time of seizure. With hundreds of still active investigations involving digital assets, but even those amount pale in comparison to IRS criminal investigation, which has confiscated a staggering $3.8 billion in virtual currency between 2018 and 2021. Nevertheless, the Justice Department argued that crypto has revealed limits on the forfeiture tools used by federal law enforcement and recommended several updates to existing law. First, the Attorney General wants to broaden the most abusive form of civil forfeiture, which occurs without any independent or impartial judicial oversight. No way, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Seizure with zero judicial oversight? That's against, we talked about this earlier, innocent until proven guilty. That's something that sets the U.S. apart, or used to. You cannot confiscate without judicial oversight. The Biden administration needs to fucking go, dude. It's one attack after another on cryptocurrency. I am so glad that Texas is modifying the Constitution to not allow the federal government to infringe on your rights to hold digital assets. But this is absolute insanity. Under administrative or non-judicial forfeiture, the seizing agency, not a judge, decides whether a property should be forfeited. The federal government can use administrative forfeiture to take almost anything, aside from real estate and property valued at more than $500,000. That $500,000 limit currently applies to cryptocurrency, but the Attorney General wants to also lift the $500,000 cap for cryptocurrency and other digital assets. This would eliminate one of the very few limits on the administrative forfeiture. Why do they want to do that? So they can attack the little guy like me. That's it. This way, yeah, even if Congress refuses to act thanks to a law enacted last year, the Secretary of the Treasury could simply end the cap by adopting new regulation, meaning essentially that it doesn't have to go through Congress now because the Secretary of the Treasury has, oh my God. This is not good, dude. Stig, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Oh, paying for them emotes. Keeping the dream alive. This proposal is deeply concerning. Administrative forfeiture provides shockingly scant protection for property owners. After seizing property, the government need only send notice of an administrative forfeiture. If an owner fails to quickly file a claim for their own property, it's automatically forfeited. Since the seized property may be the owner's most valuable asset, owners often don't have the means to fight back. Yet, even when a claim is filed, the owner still might not get their day in court. According to a report by the Institute for Justice, federal agencies have rejected more than 1/3 of all filed claims for seized cash as deficient, which most claims denied true or due to technical reasons. Unsurprisingly, since administrative forfeiture cases are significantly easier for the government to win, administrative forfeitures accounted for almost 80% of all forfeitures conducted by the Department of Justice and 96% of the Treasury Department's forfeiture activity. Although the Justice Department praises administrative forfeiture for being efficient and for reducing undue burdens in the court system, in reality, administrative forfeiture has burdened the lives of thousands of victims who've done nothing wrong. Just ask Ken Curran. After coming to America from the Middle East, he opened a small convenience store in Greenville, North Carolina. But in June 2014, IRS agents barged into the store and told Ken they had a warrant to seize $570,000 and they had already seized every penny in his bank account, $153,907. That money was Ken's entire life savings, earned over nearly 20 years of long hours running his business. You can't keep your money in banks. Did you guys see what PayPal was doing? PayPal can charge you $2,500 for wrong speak. Did you see that? I mean, shit's just getting wild, bro. Yeah, PayPal updated its terms of service again. And re-added back in, which we'll talk about this in a second. So this all ties together, right? This is what I'm telling you. It's literally turning into a war between decentralization and centralization. This is what's happening right now. You need to pay attention. Like, this is crazy, dude. You can't keep your money in the banks. You can't keep it in PayPal. You can't keep it in centralized exchanges. This is why we saw the largest outtake of Bitcoin from, Binance today. Less than 3 months later, Ken's bank account was administratively forfeited. Without those savings, Ken was driven to the financial breaking point. He struggled to support his family, pay off his mortgage, and cover a line of credit he had taken out to keep his store afloat. Ken was never charged with a crime. Quote, I never believed this could happen in America, end quote, Ken lamented. I do not understand how in this country the government can take an honest businessman's entire bank account without proving that he did something wrong, end quote. Fortunately, with the help from the Institute for Justice, Ken later filed a petition for remission or mitigation. After the media firestorm, the IRS agreed to return all of the money they had wrongfully taken from Ken. Although he lost fiat currency rather than crypto, as Ken's story shows, there is absolutely no need to make administrative forfeiture easier to use. In addition to expanding administrative forfeiture for crypto, the Justice Department would welcome amendments to provide criminal and civil forfeiture authority for commodities-related violations. Wow. I mean, obviously, they've been taking that attack line on proof of stake with Ethereum. We've been talking about that. They're extending this to commodities, which would include Bitcoin. That would include, also like your gold and silver, etc. Allowing criminal forfeiture after a conviction for fraud or manipulation in crypto markets would be a valuable tool to crack down on scammers. Currently, most cryptocurrencies are considered commodities rather than securities. So under federal laws governing commodities, prosecutors can charge fraud and manipulation in the cryptocurrency markets. But unlike securities, those statutes do not permit forfeiture of ill-gotten gains from criminal activity involving commodities. But extending civil forfeiture casts far too wide a net and would make it much more likely for innocent holders to lose their crypto to government confiscation. I want to go ahead and say, hey, thanks for that follow. Mr. GameFi analyst. I got it. We can do it. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to Sons on Twitch. Moreover, there's a direct financial incentive for federal agencies to pursue forfeiture cases. Once property has been forfeited, either civilly or criminally, the seized federal agency can retain up to 100% of the proceeds. Unfortunately, the proposed expansions in asset forfeiture are a part of a broader assault on cryptocurrency, including attacks on the financial privacy cryptocurrency can otherwise afford. The Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, is currently considering a rule that would extend intrusive reporting requirements to custodial wallets, i.e. those managed by a third party. The same reporting requirements that led the IRS to seize Ken's cash. If adopted, the wallet's host would have to send detailed reports to FinCEN for every transaction with an unhosted wallet over $10,000, including personal information like the names and physical addresses of both parties involved in the transaction. Since the blockchain is inherently public, a single report on a single transaction would effectively become a digital skeleton key, letting the federal government snoop on all of the wallet transactions. This is moving in precisely the wrong direction. No matter how midterms shake out, Congress must reject the proposed crypto crackdown and rein in civil forfeiture. But as I understand it, the Secretary of the Treasury can just pass part of it without that, which is Janet Yellen, right? So we're fucked. This is the battleground. And here's the deal, man. You'd like to say, okay, well, traditional finance, it's fine. It's moving into digital. You got things like PayPal. But now PayPal's got this bullshit. PayPal reinstates $2,500 fine for misinformation. Yeah, I'll get you the link. There you go. Forbes. PayPal is now back with its $2,500 penalty for each time the company believes that its users post misinformation. The payment giant added terms and conditions that gave them permission to withdraw $2,500 from user accounts. The instances of remittance include situations where the company believes that the user promoted misinformation. This also includes the instances where users post, publish, and send messages, content, or materials that, in PayPal's sole discretion, are harmful, obscene, harassing, or objectionable. The new prohibited speech policy is set to start on November 3rd with regard to what is said during payment and expressive content for items in which you request payment through PayPal. PayPal might effectively accuse you of violating its acceptable use policy. It can also automatically debit from user accounts and linked accounts. You gotta delete PayPal, guys. Let me explain to you what that means. If you have a bank account attached to your PayPal account, they can pull it out. But you got till November 3rd to unlink that shit, bro. Use different options. PayPal closed down accounts on the Free Speech Union 2 weeks ago, along with the accounts of London-based organizations advocate Toby Young. After receiving a slew of criticism, the payment giant decided to reinstate the accounts. The last 2 weeks have been a nightmare as I've scrambled to try to stop the Daily Skeptic and Free Speech Union from going under. PayPal software was embedded in all our payment systems, so the sudden closure of our accounts was an existential threat, Young stated. Now, I do have to personally, I get paid out on Twitch in PayPal, and I'm going to have to change that. Locals is Stripe, though, and Stripe's doing a good work over there, so that's good. The terms and conditions were included 2 weeks ago by the payment platform. However, the company stated that it was a mistake to include it in the wrong section of the terms. As of now, PayPal has brought back the policy. The company also received a disagreement from Elon Musk and David Marcus, where Marcus served as the president of the company and Musk was co-founder. Yeah. Marcus mentioned in the tweet that PayPal's new acceptable use policy goes against everything he believes in, and Elon Musk also replied to the tweet stating that he agrees. Guys, this is dangerous. You just accidentally say the wrong thing online or in a message while you're sending a payment on PayPal, and for each infringement, they will debit your bank account for $2,500 based on their discretion.